Hey, hey, but give me fire. Don't fight. Don't.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Auction Blast podcast. I'm your host Leigh Kenny. This episode we interviewed Tim Kruse from the Reppert School of Auctioneering, who gave us a lot of great tips on how to break into the auction industry. Take it away, Kenny.
Hi everybody, I'm Kenny Lindsay. I'm the co-host of the Auction Blast podcast, which is a product of the Michigan Auctioneers Association at findmichiganauctions.com. Today we have Mr. Tim Kruse. He is the president of Reppert School of Auctioneering. Hi, Tim.
Hello, Kenny.
Good seeing you again. Look, you know what? We want to talk to you a little bit because we know a lot of folks are very intrigued with the auction business, and I don't think a lot of folks actually know how to get involved in it. And we want to know what your advice would be for somebody that's more than aspiring to be an auctioneer, but they're just kind of curious and want to know that maybe if this is for them. And do they have to be a bid caller to get in the business?
To start with the bid calling question, it's a pretty hot topic now with all the online auctioneers that we have today. If you ask anybody, I just become an auctioneer, the first thing they always ask, well, can you talk fast? And so to take out talking fast from being an auctioneer is to kind of change the whole business, we would say. But if you learn how to talk fast, but don't know how to run a business well, like you might sound good, and maybe you could be a contract auctioneer and make decent money, but if you really want to make the most money, where the sky is the limit of what you can make, you want to be able to run a good business, know the laws that are going to get you in hot water or not in hot water by following them, and how do you screen sellers and all those different types of things, and have good marketing and advertising. So Reppert, our goal is to not only teach you how to talk fast and do it well and to be clear, because you can only get so good in 9-10 days, like most auction schools are. And that's going to take continual practice. But if you don't get the information, and we have over 20 people who come to each of our classes, and 3 or 4 different attorneys, and people who are experts in marketing, if you don't get that information up front, then it'll just take you longer to kind of gain traction in the auction world.
There's a lot of history in the auction industry. Auctioneers go back thousands and thousands of years.
Yes.
Okay. In auction schools, you know, some folks are like, really? There's auction schools? Actually, the first auction school, as you probably know, was the Jones National School of Auctioneering. Right. In 1909 is when they originated. But Reppert School of Auctioneering has a lot of history in itself, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Fred Reppert and Jones, I can't remember his first name, but they were friends, and Reppert taught for Jones, and then started Reppert's in 1921. And there's other schools who, you know, some say they're the oldest in different things, but Reppert is the oldest continuously operated, so it's never not had a class, almost 100 years now, because it started in 1921, so in 2021 it'll be 100 years. It has a lot of rich history. We actually have a gentleman who's still the Dean Emeritus of our students who comes out to each class, Ron Chafee, and his father, Q.R. Chafee, was the Dean of Instruction in the mid-1930s, and so they have had this continuous kind of history of being part of the school for, 80 years plus. Fred Reppert started the school in 1921, and at the time he was world-renowned as far as you could be as an auctioneer back in the day. Was a big livestock auctioneer, sold a lot of real estate in Decatur, Indiana. And so he started the school. I think he knew Jones and was a part of his school even in Chicago some. And then in 1921 started it there, built the bunkhouse eventually, and just thousands of people went through Reppert's, especially post-war. A lot of guys came through in the GI Bill, and so there's just so many huge classes in the 40s and 50s. And my grandfather went through, I think, in 1952. He was a dairy farmer and a tenant farmer, and his crops flooded out twice in the same spring. So he's like, what am I going to do? And so he went to auction school, and that changed the course of our family's history as well.
There's some colorful history to a garden tool.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yeah, in 1921, because everybody that goes to auction school, the first thing we do when we get them up is we get them up in front of the whole class, and we have them sell this garden hoe.
Is it 100 years old?
Well, nearly, yeah. In 1921, Fred Reppert went down to the local hardware store. He wanted something that when the students came into the school that they could get up in front and see how was their auction chant at the beginning of class, and then they would sell it again at the end of the school and see how they improved. At the time, it was a 3-week course, how they improved over the 3 weeks. And so he went down to the local hardware store and he bought a garden hoe and brought it back, and ever since then, every single student, so it's over 10,000 people or so, who's come through the auction school, and some of the most famous auctioneers, including Leroy Van Dyke.
He wrote the Auctioneer song.
The Auctioneer song.
Hey, well, all right, sir. Here we go there. What are they going to give?
So he came through Reppert, I think, in 1950, 51, something like that. And so he would have sold the garden hoe, and every single instructor sells it at the end of their time. And so it's this kind of an auctioneer Americana that's a relic.
Well, absolutely.
I'm proud to be a part of Reppert because I worked for it for 8 years and then stepped away for a few years. And my brother John just bought it back, and he's just excited to continue to kind of make it the kind of foremost education provider for auctioneers in the world. And I can say, I think pretty solidly, actually looking at the the different schools that offer, that we offer by far the most variety and number of instructors, and not just to have a number of instruction variety, but ones who are active either in the business or attorneys in the business that are going to give people by far the best groundwork and foundation that they're going to have to launch themselves into a lifelong career of auctioneering, making money for them, for their families, and serving the people.
Once they graduate from Reppert School of Auctioneering, what should a person do?
We highly encourage whatever state that a student is from to join their state association, whether it's the Michigan Auctioneers Association or the Indiana Auctioneers Association, where we're based. And we also encourage membership in the National Auctioneers Association because that's where you're going to build the relationships and also have the opportunity to hear different perspectives and more education to continue your career.
And when you say relationship, you're referring to other auctioneers in the business, right?
Yeah, auctioneers helping auctioneers.
That's right. And that's where they bring in that networking. Really, you can't talk shop, at least in the auction business, with just random people. I mean, you kind of need to be in that environment, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a very unique line of work.
Sure
and
it is.
A lot of times, auctioneers ourselves, we're educators. We're educating clients, we're educating buyers, because it's such a unique way, an impressive way, an amazing way, a quick way, an easy way to convert property into money at a quick time.
Outside of the chant, what other things can somebody do in the auction business?
We teach it's a very important part of the auction business is only about 10%, maybe
Sure.
at the most of the business. And so that leaves 90% of it. And so the number one thing is getting a contract. Because you can't have an auction unless somebody contracts with you to sell.
And you're talking
stuff
about
on their
like
property.
you're talking whether it be an estate or a business.
Yeah,
or...
the state or business, or if you're working with banks as clients, whatever the case might be, or if you have an auction house, you're just trying to find people to bring me your stuff. Being able to market yourself and to offer a service that is helping the public and customers and potential clients. I mean, that's the number one thing. If you don't go out and see the people, my grandpa would say, see the people, see the people, see the people.
Sure.
And that's how you're going to get business. And once you have business, how do you do that well? But first you have to get the business. And so that's getting the contract, signing the contract. Huge.
Sure. It's everything, right?
If you do that and you're making the huge percentages, and you can hire a bid caller on the day of who's maybe even better than you and pay them $500. Some of the great ones maybe make a few thousand. But you can make but then you're making thousands upon thousands.
So you're saying that. So really, what you're saying is somebody can actually pursue the auction business if they develop some salesmanship skills. They could go to Reppert School of Auctioneering, start honing their skills, going to the state conventions, the national conventions, and really kind of invest yourself in there. But they don't necessarily have to learn how to do that rapid fire chant, as they call it.
Correct. Yeah, you don't have to.
You can just contract somebody out and bring somebody in that does that.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tim, this is great. There's a ton of opportunity in the auction business, and the Reppert School of Auctioneering, established in 1921, has got a lot of history to it. The Cruzes are great people that are running that operation. And where are you located?
We're located in Auburn, Indiana, which is kind of the northeast corner.
There's a lot to do over there other than just go to auction school. There are museums.
Absolutely. One of the world's best automobile museums is right in Auburn. Auburn Cord Duesenberg Automobile Museum. And it's the only collector car or classic car museum in the world that is still in the original showroom. And so it's beautiful Art Deco kind of architecture, as well as some of the finest automobiles in the world are on display there.
Somebody could actually do a family vacation. One of them goes to auction school, and the other ones can kind of go out and have some fun,
And one thing that kind of makes me proud, like working for Reppert now, is my brother John, who's a graduate of the school, owns a collector car auction company. He is active in the business every single day, and he has not only a passion for the free market beauty of auctions, but also has a passion for education. He started a nonprofit called Next Gen that is using the automobile and the auction method of marketing, then career pathways for high school students. And he's developing that with our local high school. And to see him do that, and then also to be active in the auction business, doing auctions all over the country, setting world records. He just set a world record, 38 of them last weekend for a huge Hudson auction, one of the largest Hudson collections automobiles in the world, and we had an auction of it last weekend, and sold one for $1.2 some million. And so it's awesome to see that, and that he's willing to kind of give back and provide this space where people can learn what it means to be an auctioneer in all facets of the business.
That's incredible. If you're looking to pursue anything in the auction business, or if you just have questions, Tim Kruse is the right guy to talk to.
Yes, ReppertSchool.com. It's REPPERT school.com.
Pretty simple.
Yes.
And I love it. 1921. You have to be good at what you do to be in business for almost 100 years. So, thank you, Tim Kruse from the Reppert School of Auctioneering. This was a lot of fun and very educational, no pun intended. This is the Auction Blast podcast, a product of the Michigan Auctioneers Association. If there's any other information that you're looking to find pertaining to the auction business, visit our website at findmichiganauctions.com. My name is Kenny Lindsay. I'm your co-host.
Thank you for tuning in to the Auction Blast podcast. If you like this interview, please like, share, and subscribe to the Michigan Auctioneers Association page. Thanks.
Don't